Sports. I'm Drew Bedard. Hope you're doing well. Uh, Trying out Riverside.fm this week, so we'll see if everything works out okay. Let's get this turned down over here, and all right. So it's NFC AFC Championship weekend for the NFL. Welcome back to the NFL Breakdown. I'm your host Drew Bedard here for Honorable Mention Sports, and I'm just going to check out, make sure everything's going okay here. Yeah, seems to be going okay. All right, great. First, I want to take a look back at last weekend. I think that would be super interesting. I'm hearing myself over here. Sorry about that. Okay. So let's take a look back at last weekend. We had the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Some incredible games, some, not so perfect, but um, let's look back at. All right, so first we started off with the Chiefs and the Texans at Kansas City, cold, but probably the most, I would call it maybe the most boring game. My analysis of that one is, Mahomes continues to do Mahomes type things. CJ Stroud and Joe Mixon both had decent games, but really couldn't keep up. The star of the game was Travis Kelce, but I think there's an interesting thing happening with Travis Kelce is that if this isn't retirement year, I think we're 1 or 2 years off. And obviously, what him and his brother are doing in media these days, he's going to have plenty of opportunities. And obviously, with his notoriety, with his relationship with Taylor Swift, who was at the game. But Travis had a great game, 7 receptions for 117 yards and 1 TD. And the Chiefs scored 10 in the fourth. And, I think everybody had the Chiefs in this one. I don't think this was any kind of shock. But the Texans played pretty well. Um, could not get, could not really get anything going on offense. But again, played decent. C.J. Stroud, no passes through the air for a touchdown. So, but there was some good highlights to that game. Really, the game of the day was later that afternoon on Saturday, January 18th. Was the Commanders at the Lions. This was the game that everybody was talking about, which was because the Lions were the team. I talked about this last week with Josh. The Lions were the team of destiny. They looked fantastic coming into the game. They just beaten the Vikings to get the number 1 seed, and they're coming in and they're looking to kind of bowl over the Commanders, who had a great victory the week before. But the Commanders come in and just essentially dominate the first half. Even though the Lions came back, we're at what 31 to 20, 31-21 at the end of the first half. But everybody's shocked, right? At the end of the first half. It's 31-21. The Commanders are looking great, but I think everyone's coming out of halftime going, hey, it's only a 10-point lead. What's going to happen here in the second half? Well, the Lions go 3-and-out. They've got a great opportunity. They score at the end of the first half. They got a great opportunity coming into the second half, but they go 3-and-out. But the Commanders don't score any points in the third quarter, but then go for 14 in the fourth to sort of close the thing out. The story of the day, as it continues to be this season, is the rookie excellence of Jaden Daniels. He's cool, he's calm, he's collected in these situations. He is an accurate passer. He's a great runner of the ball when he needs to be. He always does have those funny hits when he gets knocked out of bounds. But overall, Jaden Daniels is the star. And I know I was struggling with this call last week saying, the Lions are the team of destiny, but I love the Commanders. I should have gone with the Commanders because it seemed like it was going to be, just Jaden Daniels is phenomenal. And the Commanders are coming into this game this weekend in the NFC Championships against the Eagles, going to Philadelphia with a great hot teams are hard to stop. So I want to talk about that one in a minute when we get to the Eagles and the Commanders NFC Championship game tomorrow afternoon. So the next one was on Sunday. The first game of the day was the Rams and the Eagles. Really strange game because you had this sort of first half, second half, or first quarter, and then the final 3 quarters. They had weather. It was nasty, and then it started to snow. You really thought the Eagles were probably going to dominate, but the Rams kept hanging around. Stafford has another great day, 26 for 44 for 324 in the snow and 2 TDs. But really, as it's always been, but this score is very interesting. 28-22 is the final. But without Saquon Barkley on the Eagles, I'm not sure this is the same. I'm not sure that the Rams don't come back and win this game. They were threatening late. This was not in the bag for the Eagles, even though they thought it was going into the fourth quarter. But Saquon Barkley continued to be their champion. He runs for 2 TDs. They're both absolute highlight TDs. One was for 78. The other one was for 62 yards. And but again, the Rams never gave up. They never quit. And the Eagles squeeze it out at the end, 28-22. But everybody's getting a little scared there with 3 or 4 minutes to go. But this worries me for the Eagles going into this weekend. They are at home again, but we'll see what happens. Okay, the final game of the weekend. Oh my gosh. I had the Ravens in this one, and it was looking like we were going to have some sort of Lamar breakout. So the first half for the Ravens is mired in fumbles, interceptions, turnovers, but then the second half, you think, okay, the Ravens are moving in the right direction. They've really got the momentum in the second half. The Bills did most of their scoring in the first half. So the Ravens really have the momentum. They come down late, even after a Mark Andrews fumble, which I thought he should have just gone down. And I think that's what John Harbaugh was saying on the sideline. Man, we're in the rain, snow, sleet, whatever. The weather was crazy. It was kind of, misting or snowing the whole time. And you're looking at it saying, dude, just go down. Just get the yardage and go down. And then we get to the final drive. Lamar pulls off some Lamar magic. They get that touchdown in the end zone to Likely, their other tight end. And then 2-point conversion, a rollout to the right, sort of a West Coast offense play, and looking like it's going to be money. And Lamar throws it to Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews drops it. And they lose 27-25. The Bills just kneel it down from there. Heartbreaking, tragic, felt for Mark Andrews. I know I saw his Instagram post this week. Obviously, he's been gutted by this whole situation, death threats, the whole thing. Really great of the Bills Mafia story from this week as they gave to his charity, and that was really cool. But and this was the MVP game. This was sort of like the final chapter of who's going to be MVP. And I still am leaning towards Lamar, just his statistical season, his leadership, his play. I mean, he was magic this year. But the Bills come away with it 27-25, and they're going back to the AFC Championship to play tomorrow against the Chiefs. So let's move right into this weekend's games, which are super interesting. So we've got the Commanders. So tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock on Fox. Expected to be more pleasant in Philadelphia tomorrow than it was last week. 40 degrees. That's balmy for football players. That'll be fine. And I like that. I like that for Jaden Daniels. So the Commanders and the Eagles. And if you want to, we're sponsored again this week by the Pick'em U app. If you want to, you can download the Pick'em U app and bring it in and make your picks against us. You can go to the NFL tab and click on HMS, Honorable Mention Sports, NFL Playoffs, and you can play against us this weekend. So I'm going to go in here right now and make my picks. So here's what I'm looking at. Again, the weather's going to be a little bit better. Philly is favored by 6. Over-under's 47.5. And again, on the Pick'em U app, you just pick games. You just pick straight up against each other, play with your friends. I don't know. I was talking to my dad about this earlier. I think we were kind of, we're going back and forth on who's going to win this game. Okay. So I think the keys to the game are Saquon, right? It's Saquon. If the Commanders can bottle him up and if he can have roughly 100 yards, I think that gives an advantage to the Commanders. Because I think when you put the two QBs up against each other, I think I think Jaden Daniels is the superior QB in that scenario. So I'm going to bring this up so you guys can see it when I'm looking at the ESPN screen. So If I'm looking at QB, I'm thinking about Jaden Daniels. If I'm looking at running back, even though Robinson has been terrific, that lean is towards Saquon. Look at defense. I think that's pretty evenly matched. I think the Commanders do give up more points than the Eagles, but again, I saw some chinks in the armor last week against who were the Eagles playing? The Rams. I'm sorry, got distracted there for a second. So I don't know. Special teams, I'd lean towards the Commanders. I'm going to go with the Commanders in this one. I know the away team, but they were away in Detroit last week playing the number 1 team in the NFL, right? So why not? I'm just going to go with it. I'll probably be wrong this week where I was trying to not be wrong, or I was trying to, okay, Detroit's going to win and it's going to be fine and Detroit's going to move on. The Commanders season's coming to an end. A wonderful season it was. No, the Commanders showed up, scored a ton of points on the Detroit defense, which was the one thing everybody was worried about was the Detroit defense. But I'm going to go with the Commanders. I love them. I'm just going to ride it out, and I won't feel bad if they lose and the Eagles go to the Super Bowl. But I think the Commanders, I think Jaden Daniels, I think that defense, if they can bottle up Saquon, they got a real shot. So I am going with the away team. I'm going with the Commanders. And again, the weather's going to be better tomorrow. It's not going to be 4 below with 45-mile-an-hour winds. It's going to be a decent day in Philadelphia. I'm going to go with that. Okay, so the next one, 6:30 on CBS or Paramount Plus, is going to be the Bills at the Chiefs. So you can see there the line very, very tight in this one. -2.5 for Kansas City. Over-under's 48. Going to be cold in Kansas City, 32. I mean, I guess not much difference. And for football players, as long as it's not, 27 below, they're mostly fine. Anything at freezing or over is fine for football players. They're running around. So I don't think that's going to affect them all that much. This is a really tough one. I think the United States wants the Bills to win. I think I want the Bills to win. But I'm really, really struggling with how the Chiefs don't pull this off with their, voodoo magic this year. And I mean, they're 15-2, they're 8-0 at home. So that's another piece of this puzzle is they don't lose at home very often, and they're going to be playing in front of their home crowd. I'm going with the Chiefs. I know that's so I could be wrong. And this is the tough part about this is that these two games are going to be polarizing. My dad said Eagles and Bills, and I'm saying Commanders and Chiefs. And I think that's the way a lot of people in a lot of living rooms and on a lot of shows are going to be talking over the next 24 hours. So I am going to go with the Chiefs at home. I would say they cover too. So it's 3, maybe 7 that the Chiefs win by. But again, this could go either way. I mean, the Bills could come out. Bills are fast starters. If you get James Cook going, if you get a hot Josh Allen, who might be the MVP again, if you get that, maybe you're looking at a Bills dominating win. But I think the Chiefs at home, that's a tough sell. And again, the Bills were just about 500 away. So those are my picks. That's what I'm going with. I'm going to go with the Commanders, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs tomorrow during the AFC and NFC Championships. So we're getting closer to the Super Bowl. Just wanted to let everybody know that, obviously we're going to have shows leading up to the Super Bowl. And then my plan is to get some of the beat writers from around the country to talk about what's going to happen this offseason for each team. So lining up somebody from the Cowboys, somebody from the Patriots. Those are two very intriguing teams. One more thing I wanted to talk about on here was the coaching carousel, the coaching changes. So let me see if I can pull that up. But obviously the most recent one was Brian Schottenheimer from Dallas, which I don't know what the heck is going on with that. They lose a Super Bowl winning coach who, he's not fantastic, and he's bringing them to basically 500 seasons. But Mike McCarthy, I think in most circles, people would say that Mike McCarthy is better than Brian Schottenheimer. So I think you got, that's new news. Obviously, Ben Johnson, we talked about that before. Ben Johnson to Chicago. Mike Vrabel to the Patriots. He's got Josh McDaniels coming back. That's news this week. Got his defensive coordinator, who was one of his defensive specialists and coordinators in Tennessee, in Nashville, coming back with him. I think, and my brother is on the Patriots beat in New England on BostonSportsJournal.com. He's liking all of these picks because it's adults, right? It's people who have run organizations before. They're going to give the Patriots a lot of stability and hopefully give them the edge when it comes time to win. So then you've got don't believe the Saints. So Aaron Glenn to the Jets. And then the other big one this week was Pete Carroll to the Las Vegas Raiders, which was very interesting. But I think, and again, the rumors are that Brady is running the show down there. My prediction, I like to predict things. I said Deion Sanders was going to get the coaching job in Dallas, but I think, when you look at that, maybe he was going to just be too much fire at the top of the ticket there. Too much attention was going to be paid to Deion. So Pete Carroll to the Las Vegas Raiders, Brady running the show. I think that's another situation where the Vegas Raiders needed a reset. They need a new staff. They need the new culture in there. And Pete Carroll brings Super Bowl winning culture. He brings NCAA college football winning, national championship culture from USC. He is a solid coach. I mean, you go down his win-loss record in Seattle, and it was always solid. It was always, I think the worst seasons are maybe, 7 and 9s. But that team was always competitive. That's going to be a tough defense. So I like what Las Vegas did. I think that was a great choice, a backup choice basically for Tom Brady and the Las Vegas Raiders. That, if Ben Johnson doesn't say yes, he loved that Chicago job. It sounded like he wanted to go there for a couple of years. That, picking someone with gravitas is the pick, somebody who has experience. So I like that pick for them. The Jaguars, in a really weird saga, pick up Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator from the Tampa Bay Bucks. Weird story this week, something to Google or go to X and check this story out, was that supposedly Liam Cohen commits to be the offensive coordinator for a long-term deal with the Bucks to be the highest-paid offensive coordinator in the National Football League. And then in the days coming after that, or a day after that, this is after the Jaguars fired Trent Baalke, their general manager, and Shad Khan gets back into the mix. The owner of the Jaguars calls Liam Cohen, says, "Come back in here. We like you. We want you. I'm going to give you what you want. And you get to help me hire the general manager." Well, Liam Cohen ghosts the Buccaneers, and they start calling him saying, "Hey, man, get your butt in here to sign this contract." And he ghosts them for the whole day, says something about that he's with his kids, something. Well, really, he's in Jacksonville. This is the same time Robert Saleh is going to Jacksonville to interview. But Liam Cohen goes back, and him and Shad Khan get the deal done. And it was just remarkable, this like weird story, but it's over. And Liam Cohen's going to be the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So really interesting how that's going to play out. I really hope the best for them. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback, and they've got some great talent. Obviously, Brian Thomas at wide receiver. What an LSU class last year, right? Jaden Daniels, Malik Neighbors, and Brian Thomas. So unbelievable. I was trying to pull up some of the coaching changes, but I think really there's only, Dallas was kind of one of the dominoes to fall, and is the Saints. Have the Saints selected somebody? I don't know if they have yet. So really interesting this coaching offseason, the general managers. I feel great about what the Bears did, but again, they need personnel. I feel great about where the Patriots ended up. So from a grading perspective, I'd probably say Patriots A, the Las Vegas Raiders, I'd say that's like, a B minus. Chicago Bears, I think that's an A. I think Aaron Glenn at the Jets is a B plus, A minus. I don't know. You just went from a defensive coordinator to another defensive coordinator. So are we talking about the same thing? So, is it sort of a lateral move there? I think Jacksonville, going from an offensive-minded Doug Peterson to another offensive-minded, it's about culture, man. It's about what you build. That's where the tenure comes from. That's where the longevity comes from in the NFL. It comes from building cultures. and building great personnel, great rosters with great, to me, the big key is offensive and defensive lines. If you can build that and you can build around that, then you've got a chance to win some games and get to the playoffs. So, again, very interesting week in the NFL. Got these great games coming up tomorrow. Looking forward to them. Could go either way in either one of them. And then I look forward to the offseason where we're going to be talking about rebuilding rosters and free agency. And then we're going to be talking about the draft and who's going to go first and who's going to go to the Titans, who's going to go to the Raiders, who's going to go to the Patriots. It's going to be really, really interesting this offseason. So thanks again for watching. Hope you'll share the show and follow Honorable Mention Sports on the different channels. And next time, thanks a lot.